Welcome to Evolving Into Her. I'm Ashlee Hope, and this is your weekly check-in to get out of your head, into your body, and back into alignment with the version of you who's already living the vision. So grab your favorite cup of tea, settle in, and let's get into the show. Hey girl, hey, welcome back to Evolving Into Her. This is Ashlee Hope. And before we dive in today, I just want to pause and just say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing the podcast. Thank you for leaving your 5-star reviews on Apple and Spotify, okay? Because I'm a 5-star bid. Thank you, okay? Thank you for sending me your DMs and your love notes, all the things. I see you and I appreciate you more than you know. Now, before we get into today's conversation, I want to remind you magnetism is happening this Thursday. If you've been feeling that pull to step into your glow, to hold that kind of confidence and radiance that doesn't need to prove itself, you need to be in this session. This is about embodying the frequency where your presence speaks before you do. As always, the link is in the show notes. So if it feels aligned, we would love to have you. And one last thing before we get started, for my girlies who usually skip a moment for her at the end, and I'm not judging you, okay? But I want you to stay with me this time. I poured so much intention into a moment for her today. It's expansive, it's grounding, it's powerful. If you have the space, let yourself sit through it, even if it's uncomfortable. And if you're not in the right setting, maybe you're driving, maybe you're at work, just make a mental note to come back to it later. It's that good. A moment for her is really just a chance to pause, a chance to exhale, to drop back into yourself. You don't need candles. You don't need meditation music. You don't need to be sitting crisscross applesauce. It's a moment for you. And this one, I believe, will meet you exactly where you are. Okay, so now that we got the church announcements out the way, let's talk about today's episode. Today's conversation comes from a Q&A I did a couple years ago. I used to do Q&As all the time on my IG stories. And this weekend, this answer that I posted on my IG a few years back, it came up in my memories. And I'm so glad that I saw it. I'm so grateful for the reminder because it triggered something in me. And I was like, ooh, this is something that I want to talk about on the podcast. This is such a great topic. It's such a great conversation to expand on. And the question that someone asked me was, have you ever reached a point where you gave up on having a love life? And my response was, because I think it's something so many of us wrestle with, whether we say it out loud or not. My answer back then and even now is that I never gave up. I've never given up on love. And honestly, I don't think you should either. But what I did learn was something called non-attachment. That place where you can say, if it happens, that's beautiful and I'm grateful. And if it doesn't, I'm still going to live a healthy, full, whole, fulfilling, joy-filled life. And sis, when I tell you that shift changed everything for me, I mean it. Because non-attachment opened the door for freedom. It shaped the way that I built my life, the way that I approached my peace, the way that I stayed open without being desperate. So today we're going to flow through this conversation together, what non-attachment looks like in real time, how I built a beautiful life without waiting for a partnership to validate it, and why that actually made me more magnetic, more discerning, and more at peace. Okay, so you know the deal. Get comfy, grab your favorite alignment drink. Today I'm having water with some collagen in it, biotin, and electrolytes. So it's basically water 2.0. Okay. So yeah, let's get into the show. Okay, first things first. When I talk about non-attachment, I want to be really clear about what I mean, because sometimes people hear that word and they think it means shutting down your heart or pretending you don't care or hardening yourself against disappointment. But that's not it at all. Non-attachment is not about giving up. It's not about lowering your desires. It's actually more of a softening. It's a loosening of the grip on how and when love has to show up. It's learning to breathe again, to relax, to exhale, and to say, I am whole now. I am worthy now. I will live a beautiful life now. And love can only add to that. For me, practicing non-attachment was one of the most healing things I've ever done. If you followed me for a number of years, you know I've been talking about it probably since, I want to say like 2017 or so. And it's a foundational truth for me. And I have been telling anyone who will listen about non-attachment and how essential it is to your happiness, your fulfillment, your joy, and creating a juicy, healthy, expansive, beautiful life. So when it comes to relationships, even though I wasn't waiting around for one, there was still like this quiet undercurrent with these subtle thoughts like, what if it never happens? What if I'm too much? What if I missed my window? And those fears can live in your body, even if on the outside it looks like you're living fully. And the thing is, when you live with those questions running in the background, your nervous system never fully relaxes. Your body holds on to that low level anxiety, scanning for answers, scanning for signs. That hum of fear can make you move in ways that aren't really aligned with your truth. It can make you settle or overgive or rush into connection that doesn't honor you. So for me, non-attachment was the medicine that calmed all of that. And it told my body, girl, you are safe. Ashlee, you are safe. You're already full. You don't have to chase and you don't have to prove and you don't have to grasp. And when your body feels safe, your energy will shift. You will glow differently. You will start moving through life with this confidence that says, I'm good regardless. And that's when you actually become magnetic because there's no desperation in your spirit. And here's what I want to emphasize. Non-attachment never meant I stopped desiring love. I still held space for partnership. I still prayed for it. I still visualized about it. I welcomed the idea of it, but I detached from needing it to validate me, to fix me, or to rescue me. Hello, somebody. I let my desire for love exist alongside my devotion to my own joy, my own peace, my own happiness, my own fulfillment, my own life. And that balance changed everything. It changed the game for me. It wasn't me saying F love. It was me saying love is welcome here. But whether it comes tomorrow, next year, or never in the way that I imagine, my joy is not on hold. My peace is not on hold. My happiness is not on hold. My fulfillment is not on hold. And after I released that grip and started practicing non-attachment, I had to ask myself, okay, so what do I want my life to actually feel like? And not in a relationship sense, but in a me sense. And that's where everything shifted because non-attachment wasn't just an idea for me. It was an invitation. It was an invitation to excavate my life and really clear space to make room for what I wanted to experience. I had to look at every area of my life and ask myself, does this align with the woman I'm becoming? Does this align with the joy I know I deserve? And to be honest, a lot of it didn't. So subsequently, I burnt a lot of shit down. Okay. And if you've been listening for a while, you remember episode 3 when I shared about walking away from the life that looked right on paper, but didn't feel right. That was the turning point because I realized I couldn't keep holding on to what was safe or what was expected or what just looked good from the outside. I had to release it all so I could rebuild in alignment. And so y'all know the story. That's when I made the move to Houston. And that move was about more than just changing locations. It was about creating room for expansion, for community, for newness. And once I got there, I started building. I built community. I surrounded myself with people who felt good to my spirit, people who reminded me of possibility, who laughed with me, supported me, grew with me. I built my business in a way that felt fruitful and not just financially, but soulfully, work that lift me up, that felt purposeful, that reflected my gifts. And I didn't stop at career community. I poured into myself in ways I hadn't before. I picked up hobbies. I deepened my spiritual foundation. I invested in my inner work, and not from the energy of, okay, if I fix myself, maybe love will come. But instead, I did the inner work from a place of, I want to feel whole and joyful and fulfilled right now. I deserve that. That was a game changer, because when you do the work without attaching it to an outcome, without attaching it to your expectations, when you're not just doing it to manifest a partner, but simply because you want to feel alive in your own skin, that's when the fulfillment becomes real. And let me tell you, that fulfillment spills over into every area of your life. It shows up in how you walk into a room. It shows up in how you speak to yourself. It shows up in the energy you radiate without even trying. So for me, building the life I love was about this. I was focused on creating alignment everywhere I could. And that meant letting go of what wasn't serving me, pouring into what felt good and what felt true, and doing this because I know I deserved it, and not because I thought it would lead me to divine partnership. And sis, once you start living this way, you realize that you don't need love to save you. You already saved yourself. And that's the most magnetic place you can live from. And so once I cleared the space, once I did the excavation, the next layer was this. How can I make my life feel like art? How can I infuse beauty and joy and softness into my everyday? And not someday when I meet someone, if I meet someone, not when I hit the next milestone or the next achievement, but right now. And for me, it looked like waking up slow, letting the sunlight spill in, playing music that made me feel alive and sexy and confident and feminine, swaying in my kitchen before the day even began. That's how my Did You Dance Today series on IG stories happened. I will hop on IG stories with a song and a little two-step, and I would ask y'all, did you dance today? Did you move your body? Did you give yourself a moment to feel joy? Did you give yourself a moment to just be present, to just be? And I started taking long, wandering walks. I wasn't rushing. I wasn't necessarily tracking steps, but taking a walk to just breathe, to think, to slow down, to have conversations with God and my higher self, to listen to the voice of the Holy Spirit, that small, still spirit. I'd ride my bike just because. I let my mornings stretch out without guilt. Those became my medicine. And I started dating myself. And even now I'm in a healthy, happy, whole, fulfilling partnership. I still go on solo dates by myself. But when I was single, I go to the movies alone. I would laugh out loud or even cry out loud in the theater. I sit at a restaurant solo, order something I really wanted, sip my wine slowly, and just enjoy my own company. I didn't wait for someone else to invite me out. I gave myself those invitations. Travel is another thing that expanded me. My first solo trip out of the country was Bali. That trip cracked me wide open. I went shortly after I moved to Houston. So it was huge for me. I remember standing there thousands of miles away thinking, I can't believe I did this. And I didn't wait for the perfect timing or for someone to go with me. I created this memory for myself. And I knew in that moment I'd never postpone my joy or put my life on hold again. And then there were everyday luxuries, those afternoons where you find me stretched out by the pool in a bikini with my laptop and a glass of Prosecco in hand, working, yes, but also living and not saving my joy for the weekends, not waiting for a vacation, allowing my life to feel like something worth celebrating on a random Tuesday. Every single thing I did carried intention. I wanted to wake up each day knowing I was living beautifully, that I was savoring my own life instead of rushing through it. And sis, here's the piece that shifted everything. When you allow yourself to experience joy and beauty right where you are, your body learns to feel safe in it. Your nervous system stops running on that low vibration of fear or lack. And you begin to trust that joy is available now. And that from that place, you radiate, sis, because there is nothing more magnetic than a woman who delights in her own life. Now, here's the kicker, because once you start living like this, once you've built a life that feels like yours, that feels full, that feels joyful, that feels peaceful, you start moving differently. Your standards start shifting. Your discernment sharpens because you realize I worked too hard to create this peace. I worked too hard to build this joy, and I'm not letting anybody come in and disrupt it. And that became one of my core truths. I used to say all the time on Instagram, I'm not effing up my peace or my life for nobody. And that wasn't just words, baby. I meant it with my whole chest, okay? Because you'll find that when your life is already beautiful, you stop entertaining energy that feels heavy or confusing or chaotic or low vibrational or toxic. And you can recognize immediately when something isn't in alignment. You can feel it in your body. And so instead of trying to force it or make it work, you give yourself permission to step back, to fall back, to say no, to protect what you've cultivated. And that is the gift of living from a place of fullness. You're no longer desperate. You're not out here looking for someone to fill a void. You're not bending over backwards to be chosen. Sis, you have already chosen yourself. And that choice makes you more discerning. It makes you more anchored. It makes you more in tune. And I just want to be real here. This doesn't mean you don't get lonely sometimes. This doesn't mean you never desire companionship. What it does mean is that you stop letting loneliness make your choices for you. You stop letting fear of time or pressure from society dictate the kind of love you accept. And because you've tasted peace, and once you've tasted peace, chaos doesn't feel like home anymore. Chaos and toxicity doesn't feel normal anymore. And so let me give you what protecting your peace could look like in practice. It's saying, if your energy feels inconsistent, I'm not entertaining it. Okay. It could also look like, if I have to question whether you respect me or if you like me, you don't belong here, period. It's saying, if your presence feels heavier than my solitude, I'll choose solitude every single time. So essentially, protecting my peace became a non-negotiable for me. And that's when I realized I had shifted from living in scarcity to living in overflow. Because when you're grounded in joy and in wholeness, you know there's no such thing as running out of time. You know you don't need to lower your standards just to have somebody laying in that bed next to you. And that's what I want you to really hear and take away from this, sis. Protecting your peace isn't just about building walls. It's about building a strong foundation inside of yourself so you can discern what deserves to enter. It's about honoring the life you have worked so hard to create. And it's about trusting that the right person, the aligned person, won't feel like a threat to your peace. They'll feel like an extension of it. So for me, protecting my peace wasn't just a phrase. It wasn't just a mantra. It was a way of loving myself over and over again. It was a lifestyle. It was a frequency. And so I want to land with this because I don't want you to hear all this and think, okay, so am I supposed to just stop desiring love? Is that what you're saying? I'm supposed to just let it all go? No. Desire is sacred. Desire is holy. Desire is your birthright. Desire is part of our humanity. Wanting love is natural, okay? Craving intimacy and connection is beautiful. I never stopped desiring partnership. I never stopped setting intentions. I still prayed for love. I still journaled about it. I still made space in my heart for it. I still envisioned the kind of partnership I wanted to experience. That never went away. But the difference is I released the grip. I stopped clutching at it like my life depended on it. I stopped living like I was incomplete until it happened. I stopped putting pressure on love to heal wounds that only I could heal. And that's what non-attachment looks like in practice. It's holding the vision, but loosening the desperation. And it's saying, I welcome this into my life. I trust that it's possible for me, but I also know that my joy, my fulfillment, my peace, my expansion, they're already here. And when you live from that place, something powerful happens. You really start enjoying the journey and you stop counting the days. You stop measuring your worth against your relationship status. You become magnetic, and not because you're chasing love, but because you're embodying love for yourself, for your life, for the world around you. Okay, so I want to give you some reflection prompts here. You know, I love to journal. We love to unpack things with writing. I think it was Erica Badu said, when you put that pen to that paper, baby, magic unfolds. Or she said something like that, child. I don't know. But I know this conversation can stir up a lot. So grab your journal and really sit with these. You can skip past this part if you're driving or something, and you could always come back to it. So the first question I want you to reflect on: where in my life do I already feel full and joyful, even without partnership? Number 2, what parts of me am I still waiting for love to fix that I could start tending to myself? Number 3, how can I loosen my grip and practice non-attachment while still honoring my desire for partnership? And number 4, what's one practice I could start this week to romanticize my life and build joy right where I am? And when you sit with these questions, you'll start to see where attachment might be running the show and where you can gently release it. And I'll say this again because I want it to live in your body. Non-attachment is not giving up. It is choosing peace. It is choosing presence. It is choosing to live beautifully right now while holding the door open for what's to come whenever it decides to show up. So yes, set your intentions, hold your desires with reverence, but don't let them hold you hostage, sis. Loosen your grip. Live your life, baby. Dance in your kitchen. Book the solo trip. Pour into your friendships. Lay by the pool on a Tuesday with a glass of Prosecco if you want to. Build such a beautiful life that love becomes an addition, not a condition. Clock it. And when it arrives, it won't feel like salvation. It'll feel like overflow. Ooh, sis, I feel like we've really journeyed together in this episode. From non-attachment to building your life, to romanticizing your days, to protecting your peace, to holding intentions with an open hand and an open heart. This is the work. This is what it looks like to evolve into her. And I don't want this conversation to just stay in your head. I don't want it to just be good notes in your journal or a nice idea you replay later. I want you to really feel it in your body, because when you embody this, when you can integrate it, when you can breathe it in, when you can settle into it, that's when it stops being theory and becomes truth. So let's shift. Let's take everything we've talked about, the wholeness, the peace, the overflow, and let's ground it. Let's move from thinking about it to actually being it. This is a moment for her, a moment for you to step out of your mind and into your body. All right, sis, let's take a pause together. And wherever you are, I invite you to soften. If you're sitting, let your shoulders drop. If you're standing, maybe you can sway a little from side to side. And if you're walking, just let this wash over you as you move. And I invite you to take a deep breath in through your nose. And exhale softly through your mouth. Good, let's do that again. Inhale deeply, filling your chest, your belly, your whole body with air. And then let it all go. And I invite you in your mind's eye to imagine yourself waking up in the life that you've been building. A life that already feels so good to live. And just see yourself there, feel yourself there. The slow mornings, the sunlight spilling into your room, music playing softly as you stretch and you sway. And feel yourself stepping outside. The air is so fresh. Your body feels light. And just notice how peaceful it feels to simply exist in this moment. To just be. No chasing, no waiting, no proving, just being. And now imagine yourself moving through your day. Maybe you're walking through your neighborhood. Maybe you're sitting at a cafe sipping something delicious. Maybe you're stretched out by the pool. Maybe you're out laughing with friends, or maybe you're simply at home and wrapped up in a blanket with a journal in your lap. Whatever feels beautiful to you, I invite you to see it clearly. I invite you to feel it. And as you see it, feel it, experience it, I want you to repeat quietly to yourself. I am whole right now. I am worthy right now. I am safe to enjoy my life to the fullest right now. Love can only add to the overflow. And let those words settle into your body. Feel how true they are. Because this is what non-attachment feels like in real time. It feels like freedom. It feels like peace. It feels like expansion. It feels like a deep knowing that you are already complete. You are already enough. You are already living beautifully. And really breathe into that truth. Place one hand on your heart if that feels good for you. And as you take one last deep inhale, I want you to smile. Because this moment right here is proof that you don't have to wait to feel joy. And sis, exhale and let that peace carry you forward. Sis, I hope you let this conversation sink all the way in, because what we just walked through together, the non-attachment, building your life, romanticizing your everyday, protecting your peace, holding intentions without desperation, that's the foundation of living free. And I want you to remember this. You don't have to wait. You don't have to put your joy on pause. You don't have to make your life small until love shows up. You are allowed to live fully, boldly, beautifully right now. And from that place, you'll see that love is not your lifeline. It's your overflow. So yes, hold your desires, pray for the partnership if that's what you want, visualize it, call it in, but also know your life is already worthy of celebration. You're already living proof that you can create joy and wholeness with or without a partner. That is what makes you magnetic. That is what makes you radiant. That is what keeps you discerning and at peace. And speaking of magnetism, shameless plug, but don't forget, magnetism is happening this Thursday. If you felt even a spark of resonance with today's episode, If you're ready to embody that glow that can't be faked, that soft, confident radiance that turns heads without even trying, I want you in this session. Come and feel the energy for yourself. The link is in the show notes, as always. Friend, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sharing this space with me, for pressing play, for sending me your notes, for sending me your love. And if this episode spoke to you, please share it with another woman who needs the reminder. Text it to a friend, text it to your daughter, your sister, your cousins, your nieces, your aunties, your mom. Post it on your stories. Let's keep spreading this work. And lastly, don't forget to leave me a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, because let's say it together, I'm a 5-star bitch, okay? And that's how this community keeps growing. And it means the world to me. Until next time, friend, I love you. Keep evolving, keep choosing peace, keep choosing yourself, keep building your beautiful life, and stay in devotion to your evolution. I'm Ashlee Hope, and you've been listening to Evolving Into Her. Thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you for choosing her, for choosing yourself. And until next time, stay in devotion to your becoming.